This is the easier-to-read version of The Sniper by Liam O'Flaherty, retold and narrated by Sarah Simpson. It was an evening in June. It was nearly night. The moon was the only light, so the streets of Dublin, Ireland were mostly dark. It was mostly quiet, but gunfire occasionally broke the silence. The civil war between the Republicans and Free Staters had been going on for many months, so the sound of guns had become a regular part of life. The Republicans wanted to stay part of the British Empire, but the Free Staters wanted to be a totally independent nation. This led to war across Ireland. The conflict tore families apart when some members supported the Republicans and others supported the Free Staters. Many people on both sides had been killed, and there was no end to the war in sight. A Republican sniper, a soldier with special training in accurate shooting, lay flat on a rooftop above the street. The roof had a little wall, a parapet, around the edge. He was able to hide behind it. He was watching for signs of enemy Free Staters. If he saw any, he would shoot them. He would do whatever he needed to do to help the Republicans win the war. He had a thin, serious face. His eyes were dark and cold. He was an experienced soldier who was used to killing. Death did not bother him anymore. He hadn't eaten all day. He had been too excited to eat. He had heard that there would be Free Staters nearby, so he had been waiting on the rooftop all day. He forced himself to eat his sandwich, then washed it down with a drink of whiskey from his flask. He had wanted a cigarette all day. He hadn't smoked one because he was worried the enemy might see the smoke and know where he was. He hadn't wanted to give away his location and lose his advantage. However, the craving for a cigarette was bad now. He decided to light one and take a chance. As soon as he blew out the first puff of smoke, the enemy shot at him. A bullet nearly hit him. He moved out of the way just in time. Very carefully, he looked over the edge of the little wall. The bullet had come from a building across the street. At least now he knew where the enemy was hiding. Very carefully, the sniper rolled over until he was hidden behind a chimney. He could see a little better from there. He tried to get a better look at the building across the street, but it was hard to see now that the night was approaching. The enemy, like him, was being very careful not to be seen. Just then the sniper heard a car coming across the bridge nearby. He looked over the edge of the building. It was a Free Staters military car, and it was only 50 yards away. He felt his heart start to beat faster with excitement. He wanted to shoot at the car, but he knew the metal on a car like that would be too thick to pierce with a bullet. The only thing he would do if he shot at it was give away his hiding place. He laid still and waited. An old woman ran up to the car. She pointed at the roof where the sniper was hiding. An informant for the Free Staters. Now they knew where he was. Across the street a window opened. The sniper could see the outline of a man. Then he heard the blast of a gun. Quickly, the sniper fired his own weapon. He hit the enemy and saw the man's body fall over dead. Next, he aimed his gun at the old woman. He fired again. She screamed and fell down dead in the gutter. Suddenly, the sniper heard another gunshot from across the street. Another enemy soldier was shooting at him. The sniper dropped his gun. He saw blood dripping down his arm. He had been shot, but he didn't panic. He tried to pick his gun back up, but his arm wouldn't even move. He laid down flat behind the wall and started to assess the damage. He used his knife to cut the sleeve off his shirt so he could see the wound. He saw a bullet hole in one side of his forearm, but there was no exit wound on the back. That meant the bullet was stuck inside his arm in the bone. He tried to bend his arm. The pain was terrible, but he was tough. He didn't make a sound. He had to clean and bandage the wound, or it would become infected. He pulled out his medical kit. He poured iodine into the hole, and the pain was nearly unbearable. Oh well, he had to disinfect it, no matter how much it hurt. He wrapped the bandages around his arm, then lay still and waited for the pain to ease up enough he could think. The street was quiet again. The enemy car had driven away as soon as the shooting started. The dead soldier and the dead woman lay where they had fallen. The sniper knew he needed to figure out a way to get off the roof and get medical attention. If he stayed there until morning, he would be dead, either from shock or because he couldn't defend himself against the enemy with his injury. He wouldn't be able to use his rifle with only one good arm. All he could use now was his revolver. It would be more difficult to kill the enemy with the revolver, but he was an excellent shot. He might be able to do it. The sniper was smart. He came up with a plan to trick the enemy into giving away his location. If the sniper knew where the enemy was, the revolver might be enough. The sniper put his hat on his rifle, then held it up just enough so the hat was visible above the wall. With any luck, the enemy would think it was his head, fire his gun, and the sniper would know his enemy's location. Sure enough, it worked. The enemy sniper shot at the hat. The sniper dropped the hat down, then dangled his good arm over the side of the wall so the enemy would think he had been shot and killed. Thinking the Republican sniper was dead, the enemy stepped into the open. He had a clear shot. He aimed the revolver and fired. The enemy was hit. The man fell over the edge of the roof across the street and landed dead in the road below. Even though the man had been his enemy, the Republican sniper looked at the dead body and shuddered. Now that the adrenaline rush was over, he felt sad about what he had done. Enemy or not, the dead man had been a human being. He couldn't bring himself to look at him. He cursed. He cursed the war. He cursed himself. He cursed everybody. He threw the gun down onto the roof. The impact made the gun go off, and the sniper was nearly hit by the bullet. This startled him back to his senses. His mind was clear again now. He laughed at his own foolishness. He pulled out his flask of whiskey and took a big drink. He could feel the alcohol spreading through his body, and it lowered his inhibitions. He decided he would leave the roof, find his commander, and report in. Everything was quiet now, so it wasn't too dangerous to leave. He picked up his revolver, put it in his pocket, climbed down into the house, then walked down the stairs and out the front door. When the Republican sniper walked into the street, he suddenly felt very curious about the man he had killed. Whoever he was, the man had been a very good shot. He wondered if he knew him. Maybe they had even been in the army together before the war started and everyone chose different sides. He decided to take a chance and go look at the man since the street was quiet. The sniper ran across the street towards the body. A Free Stater with a machine gun fired at him but missed. He threw himself flat on the ground next to the dead man, pretending he too was dead. The shooting stopped. That was when the sniper turned over the dead body to look at the man's face. He was shocked to see that the dead Free Stater was his own brother.